Kraken Up, the Carpies podcast, where we talk everything Carpies. Here's your host, Derreck Carpelletti.
Welcome back, everybody. Episode 2 of the Kraken Up podcast. My name is Derreck Carpelletti, co-owner of Carpies Print Company. And well, last week we took a little trip to Bowling Green, Ohio for the 2024 Ohio State Oval Championships. A weekend of RC racing with some friends, some enemies, and a lot of Carpies energy drinks along the way. We invited our one of our longtime team guys, Kevin Smith, to come down and try some carpet oval racing. Tony Carrubba almost goes to jail. Of course, we had good food and drinks, and we were managed to take home 3 class wins and, well, probably a lot of other nonsense that I'm kind of forgetting. But before we get into all that, I want to welcome longtime Carpies endorser, a sprint car guy turned IndyCar guy now turned pan car guy, Kevin Smith. What's going on, Kevin?
Just enjoying the evening.
I'm grateful you're spending your Valentine's Day with me.
Who else would I spend it with? I mean, my wife already knows that I'm going to spend it in the RC room. She's lived and loved racing all her life too, so it's just another day to us. This is the way we live our life.
Yep. Yeah, I was. Audra and I don't really celebrate it either. And I did when we picked this day, I didn't even think about what it was. And today everyone's doing their Valentine's thing. And I'm like, you know what? That was probably a dickhead move that I scheduled it on Valentine's night. But
no, it's all good. No, I mean, this is life is pretty centered around racing. And, I mean, obviously, it's sort of cool to join in on this podcast. You know, it's a rookie run for me, so. You know, it's all good, all good. I mean, it's a normal night for us. If tonight's 360 racing at East Bay, so we're not really paying that much of attention. It's not 410s or non-weight, so yeah. We're good.
And something even less interesting for you, Daytona qualifying tonight.
Where's that? That's those stock car guys. That's right.
Oh yes. For people who don't know much about you, we have a little bit of a crossover, more of on the pan car side, stock car side. You're more of the dirt, IndyCar kind of side of things. So we're going to have a little bit of a crossover. So give everybody that doesn't know who Kevin Smith is a little bit of a rundown.
As far as the RC side, I've been back in the hobby for about 4 years. Jump back in, boredom of things to do when I wasn't at the big car racetrack. Mm-hmm. Started out with the Traxxas Slash to run mud balls class. Jumped straight into a non-wing sprint car also. Ran those for probably a couple months before I came across this cool little company called Carpies. You know, with a mud boss and just one non-wing car, I couldn't do justice to the Carpies brand. So, I mean, we sort of branched out to 5 or 6 sprint cars, a couple late models, an F1 car. You know, it just snowballed from there. Everything I've ever done in my life in racing has been balls to the wall. So, you know, the RC stuff I've been running 3.5 years, dirt oval now, a little bit of GT12 on-road stuff. I say a little bit because it was like 3 races and really I sucked. So, and then, you know, we've done quite a few, and I can't say quite a few, but we've done the last few RC Chili Bowls. You know, so that side of things is picked up. I try to take it as serious as I can, but as fun as I can. As far as the business side of things, I grew up with USAC sprint cars, you know, traditional non-wing cars. Did that for, God, I don't even want to say how many years because that just shows my age. But quite a few years. Dabbled a little bit in the wing cars the last couple of years. I was with the sprint cars, and then was fortunate enough to take an opportunity in the Indy Lights series or the NXT series for HMD Motorsports. I've been doing that for a year and a half now, and like I said, my wife and I we live racing. When we're not at a racetrack, we're going RC racing. We are going to spectate at a track. We are watching it. I mean, I can leave the house, be gone on the road with our big car program, and call her at home, and she's got 3 different TVs on with 3 different races on. So even when I'm not around, she still lives racing too.
Yeah, I can attest to that. We were at the carpet oval race last weekend, and we were wrenching, and she's over there. She's got one iPad going, 2 phones going. We've got every dirt race on Flow on there.
I honestly think she was paying more attention to that than I was. I may have been pretty locked into this whole carpet oval experience.
It was funny because I came off the stand from one of the qualifiers or one of the practices, and she had a full rundown for me of my average lap times, my fall off, what my pace was. I'm like, man, I need a full-time crew chief like this.
Yeah, I mean, that's the way it is when she goes to the track with me, too. I mean, as soon as I come off the track, she's pulling a battery, she's washing tires, she's getting tires prepped, she's going up, finding what our next round is, where seating position is. I mean, she takes it probably about as serious as I do, if not a little bit more.
Yeah,
I mean, she's the first one to tell me when I suck, so...
So you mentioned that you've been to the RC Chili Bowl a couple of times the last couple of years. You're kind of the face of the Wits Racing Products booth. How did you get hooked up with those guys?
That was actually a chance encounter. It's sort of funny. We were actually on a family vacation, Gatlinburg for the week. Flipping through Twitter, a buddy of mine, Casey Schumann, announced that he had Wits RC Products for a sponsor for his big car for the Chili Bowl. And I said, "What the hell is Wits Racing Products? Never heard of them."
Mm-hmm.
And so I started doing my research, and I just chance encounter. I reached out and I said, "Hey, listen, I run dirt oval. I see your name in a lot of off-road oval, but I'm going to be honest with you, I've never seen your name in dirt oval. Do you have anybody representing your brand in dirt oval?"
Mm-hmm.
It was spiraled from there. It's been what I call a great partnership, a great friendship. I like to keep my circles pretty close, and the circles that I feel have been not sponsorships, more partnerships and friendships. And that to me is like a building block or a foundation for a great relationship, because you always know that A, you believe in your product. B, you've got the support of the people behind you and with you. So, like, with that, Clue and I we've become really good friends. He's always, he was very excited about the dirt oval side, and he's very excited about the dirt oval side for the big cars and the small cars. He's never left a stone unturned on trying to get some advertisement out there. But the thing is, what it comes down to is he just wants to help grow the sport too. So, there's been times that I've reached out to him and said, "Hey, Clue, I think we'd be going down a good avenue if we supported this deal or supported this deal." And 9 times out of 10, he's like, "I'm with you. What can we do?" So that I like to say a chance encounter built a great deal, and I feel like on the dirt oval side, Wits Racing Products has become a pretty staple name here lately. It's taken a couple years, but the plus is the energy that's put into it. It's probably unmatched. I mean, it really is. It's a small company that's doing big things.
Yeah, that's for sure. I mean, I too had never heard of it until you brought it my way. And yeah, Clue runs everything very professional, whether it's his presence. I've seen live RC clips of off-road races, and there's the whole back straightaway with the Wits banners. He's got the guys in the shirts and he's on the live RC screen. He obviously has the big cars at Chili Bowl, that whole setup with the RC side with the big tents. He's got some of the YouTube guys in there I saw from this year. Definitely knows how to make a presence. That's for sure.
And the thing is, at the same time, he's just having fun with all this.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he's been accessible to me at all times. Like I said, we become really, really good friends. So like, there's not really business hours. And he's always open to suggestions. He's always trying new things, and he's always looking for something else to add to the brand.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's awesome. So when you've obviously, like we said, had a presence at the RC Chili Bowl, but you've spent your time at the big Chili Bowl as well. What are some good stories from over there on the other side of things?
God, I couldn't even start to tell you stories from there. I think this probably would have marked my 19th year at the Big Chili Bowl. I've been blessed with a few qualifier night wins. Never a Saturday night main win, but at the same time, that in itself, the atmosphere, just like the RC Chili Bowl, the atmosphere is what makes that race. It's yeah, you're packed in there with 300 cars. You know, RC Chili Bowl, you're packed in there with, God, I think 650 plus entries this year. You know, but at the end of the week, it's a week long of atmosphere. So, I mean, the stories could go on forever. I don't think we have enough time today, tomorrow, Friday or Saturday for stories. I've been blessed to see some great racing there. Always enjoyed that. I've always enjoyed the Tulsa Shootout before the Chili Bowl also for the micro sprints. Mm-hmm. So, I spent a couple years with Clausen Marshall Racing with Tyler Courtney, Justin Grant, Shane Gulbick. Some of those guys, been fortunate enough to work with Donnie Schatz, Jason Johnson. It's always been a cool deal. So like I said, dirt racing has always been my background. So naturally, that's what transitioned me into RC dirt racing too. Really and truly, 10 scale oval. You can take a lot of what you know from the big cars and apply it to the little cars.
Yeah. In a lot of what you do in the professionalism from the full size racing, whether it was the sprint racing or now in the IndyCar stuff, that is clear, and it transfers over to your program, even with your RC. I don't know if anyone has seen it online. If they haven't, they should go over and check it out. But your RC room is immaculate. Looks like the Taj Mahal in there.
So, my wife allows me some pretty free reign with stuff. This was the living room, the dining room, and the kitchen got the makeover when we bought this house. And then it was, okay, get your RC room done. That way you're happy and you leave me alone. I'm glad you see it as the Taj Mahal, because on the days that I come home from a race, it looks like a hurricane has went through here. The night before a race, there's always thrashing because, shit, I forgot to do something. Or we're going to change something up for tomorrow. And every countertop in this room looks like it's been hit with a hurricane. So, the first thing is you come in from a race night and you set everything down, and then the next morning you get up and you spend, in my day, 6 hours rearranging everything to make sure it is perfect again before I can tear everything apart and go through it and make the room a mess again. But the beauty is the way our house is laid out. We've got a barn door style opening to the RC room. It leads right to the living room. So if she's in the living room and I'm in the RC room, hey, we're still spending time together.
Hey, you got to get it in how you can.
Exactly.
So you decided to take up an offer to come down to Ohio and try your hand at some carpet oval racing. So when you finally got on the track, what were your first thoughts after practice round number 1?
Well, let's be honest. I didn't really take up the offer to come. It was, hey, what would you guys think about a hired driver? And well, Jeff was extremely crazy and saying, hey, yeah, hell yeah, let's do it. I got a truck for you. Yeah, I didn't think that was going to go that way. Um, but it's not, obviously with me being in Indiana and you guys being in New York, obviously our paths don't cross very often.
Right.
We've only got to cross paths a couple times, the big car track while we were out in New York and Pennsylvania. So, with the logistics of everything, a little bit of road trip sounded like fun. Carpet oval, I mean, how much worse can it be than dirt oval? I mean, you turn left, right? I learned really quick. It's not that easy. It's as easy as you make it, but first time I hit the track, yeah, I had a better chance at hitting the broadside of a barn. Couldn't hit my marks. I had to sort of, I guess I did sort of get a little bit of, I'd say a little bit of going back to doing like a crate late model, like 13.5 or 17.5 late model, where it was, okay, you have to keep it smooth. You have to keep it rolling. You have to keep it, keep your entries open some, keep your exits open some, don't pinch it off. And I think I started to transition fairly well. You were setting the pace in that class the whole weekend, as you should have. And every time I went to the track, the only thing I could think was, God, I got to get close to Derreck's times. I got to get close to Derreck's laps. I'm not coming here to embarrass myself. This is serious. I mean, while we were there to have a good time, I strive to go to the full extent of making the best of the opportunity. And I'll be honest, on the track I had a blast. Off the track I had a blast. Away from the track I had a blast. And I mean, I felt like the strides we were making every time we hit the track was pretty cool. I could actually see a pretty big difference. I mean, I think the first round I was at like a 58.40, and you were setting the board at like a 62 right off the bat.
Yeah.
To me, that's a big gap on that small of a track. I mean, it wasn't. Right. It was not Talladega, that's for sure. So. And by the time we were done, I think third round I was like a 62.4.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. I mean, you had bumped yours up to a solid 64. I mean, yeah, you were setting the pace, but times were pretty legit, and the biggest thing that I learned in that is, man, you kill 2% consistency and you've killed a whole race.
Yeah.
So dirt's a little bit more forgiving. You could flip your ass off down the backstretch and still come back from it.
Mm-hmm.
This stuff you can't. I mean, you miss your mark once, you hit that flapper, which was like playing Pinball Wizard all the time, and you were done. I mean, it killed at least in the next 3-4 laps.
Yep.
So, the one thing that I think I really took from this carpet oval deal is to boost your consistency. Work on your consistency. You can go slower, be more consistent, and be faster.
Right.
So, I mean, it was a blast. I mean, it really was. I'm very thankful not only to have the opportunity to come hang out, but, well, I mean, more than anything, come and hang out, because like I said, we don't get to cross paths very often. And usually, if anything, it's a phone call or a text message back and forth. And, to get to spend the weekend and just hang out and have fun and everything, maybe drink or 1 or 2 Carpies energy drinks, send a single person to jail. I mean, no, it was a great weekend, and like everybody there was very welcoming. Especially when they found out this guy has never ran one of these before. This is going to get ugly.
Yeah, and frankly, you showed up to a track that none of us have been to. It's predominantly an on-road track, so the groove in the carpet surface is not going in circles. So unloading, it was incredibly difficult due to the groove, cutting through the infield. So you're going down the straightaway. That's a pretty high speed. and you got that carpet trying to pull you to the left, pull you to the right, and obviously you've never done it, so that's a handful on top of what is already a handful.
Yeah, I don't remember it pulling me to the left or the right. Thankfully, I was foreign enough to that I never felt that.
All right. That's what I battled all weekend, is coming out of the corner, the car wants to kind of shimmy to the left, shimmy to the right, kind of floats around a lot. It should just
Yeah,
go.
I just thought that was me.
Uh,
So,
yeah. So practice Saturday, you made pretty constant gains from when you got there to the end of the day Friday. Then we went out. We went to the Mexican restaurant. What was the name of that one again?
agave and rye.
That place was
Sort of,
banging.
sort of an upscale Mexican restaurant.
Yeah. Well, it
I,
was until we got there.
yeah, we definitely went middle class on that one. No animals were harmed in that one, even the statues, contrary to what pictures may. You know what? Pictures don't exist. Never mind.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's the best part of road trips is getting a chance to go out afterwards, hang out, have a drink, have some good food, tell stories. I mean, because obviously, if you're doing a road trip, probably about 50% of the people there are people that you don't get to see every day.
Mm-hmm.
So you can recap, you know, your excursions to other racetracks, or excursions at their racetrack. I feel like maybe we had a little bit of fun making fun of my driving style because it sucked. Um, we Derreck definitely threw the smorgasbord of tacos down.
Oh yeah.
I did not realize how serious you guys take food.
Yeah.
Step up my program for the next race. It was serious. So
Yeah. We like to go hard when it goes to food. I can't remember what they were called, but I had but it was like the camel hump or something. It was like two
yeah,
3-inch in diameter mac and cheese fried balls inside of a taco, which is full of mac and cheese and pulled pork. That thing was
yeah. What?
phenomenal.
What was it? It was a thump, some kind of
Thumper.
thumper,
Yeah,
because it was
thumper.
it was supposed to have some kind of kangaroo twist to it.
Yeah. It
Yeah,
got
so
twisted.
you may have ate a kangaroo that night. I'm not gonna lie, I wouldn't have noticed any difference, but that could have happened.
Yeah. And then what was the other one? The gangster.
Yeah, the gangsta. No,
I
don't throw
don't
the R in there.
Oh yeah,
Don't throw the R
gangsta.
in there. Yeah, yeah.
That was phenomenal too. To be honest with you, I had too many margaritas to remember what was really in it, but it was awesome.
There may have been one or two margaritas involved.
So afterwards, you got to really get to know and admire a man named Tony Carrubba. Legend. He's a legend in carpet oval and on road. But you finally got to meet this man. What did you think?
I mean, he's a very young 73 years old. It was his
Yep,
birthday
73.
Saturday. So again, happy birthday, Tony. Um, I witnessed that's got to be a legend in the making if it's not. The guy has so much energy. The guy has so much fun, and well, obviously the guy has a way with the cops because he talked himself out of going to jail that night. So, how they confused him with a 27-year-old Anthony, I don't know. Bowling Green Police Department needs to step up their game a little bit because that should have been a shot in the bucket right there. But yeah, he from the minute he sat down Friday to the minute we left the track on Saturday, there was not a dull moment with that man. Definitely wish we could have him around Dirt Oval now and then.
Yeah. So
No, we don't need to make that happen. Okay, so we'll just.
I'll say I can send him down there.
Yeah, I may have a car if you guys or he ever wants to run one. I mean, we could do a rent ride. I'm probably gonna have to check his ID and make sure there's no police presence before he runs the car. But yeah, we're good.
Yeah. So if anybody doesn't know the story, we came down for breakfast Saturday morning before we headed in to do qualifiers in the mains. Tony's already down there having breakfast, giving everybody hugs. We come down, I wish him happy birthday, and he says thanks, and he goes, last night I almost got arrested. And we all look at each other like, what the hell did Tony do between 11 and now?
I
Apparently,
figured he was. I figured he was going to bed. Obviously not.
he goes hard. So apparently, there was another Tony Carrubba, I guess, at that hotel, 27-year-old Tony Carrubba. Somehow their rewards points got mixed up, and cops got involved and thought Tony was doing identity theft, and then
Oh no,
his roommate thought we sent the cops there as a prank, so they didn't even believe that they were real cops.
yeah, they originally tried running the cops off. May have thought they were room service to begin with. But no, the other Anthony Carrubba was not even at the hotel. I don't even think he was in the state. He just got an email saying that his points had upped.
Oh,
So the clerk had incidentally put his information in and add points. And why anybody would call the cops for added points to their stuff, I don't know. It's beyond me. But hey, whatever. So and then next thing you know, the cops are knocking on his door. He's in the shower wondering who his roommate's talking to, and comes out and there's the cops. You would think just seeing him that should have ended the story, but apparently there was another 20 to 25 minutes interaction with him and the cops. Whether he was trying to buy him breakfast or take him out for a beer, I don't know. He did say the lady officer was not horrible, so yeah, I mean, Tony likes his ladies too, so that might have been part of it.
yeah. Here's a little clip here of some of the food and shenanigans we got to in Friday night.
God.
See Caitlin there. Zach, Colors by Crappie, the promoter of the event for Black Swamp Raceway. So that leads us into going into doing qualifiers and mains Saturday afternoon and night. Your pacing improved significantly from round 1 to round 3. You ran pretty strong in the main. There was no big mix-ups anywhere. I think you were within a lap of me when I won, I believe, right? I know you hot lapped me.
Well, now I will say I'm going to throw this out here because I will probably never be able to say this again. I threw down the hot lap of the weekend in that class.
You did a couple times.
Now I don't know if I ran through the infield and nobody caught on to it, but hey, the paper says I ran hot lap of the weekend, so I'm gonna run with that one.
The track
But
was the track was
Go ahead.
split in the middle. You could have gotten away with it.
Yeah, but man, if you went through the center, it was going to be ugly. I mean, I'm pretty sure I just got I may have got a little bit of that flapper a little close and maybe just cut that. That was a weird place to have a scoring line too.
Yeah, it was.
In the middle of the turn. So I mean, hey, if I would have went wide, I probably would have been at like a 4.7 instead of 3.5.
You definitely had the hot lap. You came in strong. You picked up, I think, your pace about 3-4 laps overall in a run from when you got there to where we ended up. You also ran one RC, kind of a late minute entry for that. What did you think of those little cars? That was the first time you ran those, right?
I mean, that was the first time I ran those. And a buddy of mine out in Arizona, Chris Vieira, he's got hot heavy in those, and I mean, he even asked to know what's my next purchase. So I threw out they need to get a big block mod. They're cool little cars. We got to find a way to put like a 5.0 in them though. Well, no, they were a blast. They were a challenge because they're so small. They get up on the wheel. They get up on the bike easy. It again is just being able to know your exits and your entries. And I go back to my dirt oval stuff where it seemed like the times that I got smoother is the times where I ran a spec class like the 17.5 late model.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, you sort of it always challenges you to be smoother. Let it roll and everything like that. And I don't know. I thought those were always I'm probably going to get shunned for saying this, but I always thought the 1RCs were just for the hobbyists,
Hmm.
the ones that want to enjoy it, but like really don't want to sink a ton of money into them. I'm wrong. Um, you could sink some money into those. I mean, you could play with some things. I mean, especially if they don't have a spec rule on them.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I could see some wind tunnel tricks played with that. Maybe put it on a dyno. But no, for as small as they are and as affordable as they are, they're definitely a cool class, especially to get like the younger generation, which is something that we need to get back into this hobby.
Hmm.
It would be especially a good class for a generation like that to get into.
Yeah, and I mean I think that class in those cars are for hobbyists. It's a great entry level program to get you involved in the hobby for $200, $220 or whatever it is shipped.
Yeah,
You can get into it, you can get the bug, and of course you're gonna get good at it and want to move up to the next thing, and that's what inevitably grows the hobby. That's where, as much as I hate them, Mud Boss, those do the same thing in a lot of the dirt oval stuff. They bring people in at a low cost, and a good percentage of them are going to move up to late models or sprints or whatever else is out there in dirt.
well, let's face it. I mean, there's people out there that sort of crack on mud bosses and everything, but that's a really cool competitive class too. And to be honest with you, it's sort of like the big car world, where you go to a sprint car track, you've got 25 sprint cars and 40 street stocks.
Right. Yep.
Which, so to me, it relates to us because we get a dozen sprint cars and 2 dozen mud balls
Hmm.
or street stock slash. Regardless, it's still a very competitive class, and there are so many tuning options for them too, and they put on some killer races. To be honest with you, it's just
Yep.
like SCB mod class. You know, I mean they put on killer races. Spec racing is actually still pretty cool because it's still getting the people that are coming into the sport, a chance to basically get their feet wet and start learning the tuning options, start learning on how to prep for them, be smooth and everything like that, and then step into sprint cars or late models or, on the carpet side. Yeah, the mods? No,
No.
no, no. I think at one point in time watching the mods, the foam tire mods were, I'm sitting there going, yeah, about the time they're going down the back stretch, I'm still looking at the front stretch.
Uh-huh.
So, I'll stick with like the rubber tire stuff, some people want to stay at that level and enjoy that level.
Hmm.
Um, I there sometimes you just know that that's the level that you're competitive at and that you want to be competitive at.
Yeah.
Thankfully we've got classes like that, because if we didn't have classes like that, we may not have classes at all.
Right. Yeah, and yeah, you talked about the open mods, how fast they were. We were running what 3.6s, 3.7s, and rubber tire truck. They were doing 2.6s and 2.7s, a whole second a lap faster.
Yeah. We were at 3.7s, and I heard was it maybe Nick Ellis
Yep.
crack off like a 2.6, 2.7,
Yeah.
and I was sitting in a chair at that point in time, and I literally got up just to see what the hell I was watching, because that was insane.
Yeah.
Like I can't think that fast.
Yeah, you think that's nutty. We run 12 scale modified sometimes too. So you're running that same package, but in a smaller car, shorter
Yeah,
wheelbase, lighter.
yeah. I heard. I think Zach said something about having a 3.0 in his car.
Yep.
Was that right? A 3.0?
Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah. To me, when I think of a 3.0, the first thing I think is straight line. That's what these RC drag racers are using.
Right.
I never would have thought of 3.0 in a pan car.
Yep.
Yeah, yeah. That was pretty insane. I mean, I definitely was impressed.
Yeah, it's pretty nutty. Um, those mains usually end up in chaos. Usually on the bigger track, they run about 10 of them at a time. Um, it's usually pretty brutal. But when there is, one in every three is a disaster. But the ones that they get off through in the A mains, it's just like a beautiful thing to watch. When you get 10 of those things going all in motion, it's
You're right.
crazy.
I'll stick to watching those. Um, yeah, not me. I will say from this oval expedition, one of the things that we do have to take from this is, well, apparently there may be some talk of maybe having to broker a deal to have New York affiliated retired truck team set up in Indiana.
Yeah,
Uh,
satellite
even
team.
if, yeah, satellite team. Even if it only gets to run a couple times, and I probably shouldn't talk so loud. My wife might hear me on this one. But yeah, it's serious enough that I think we're going to have a couple of those on the wall just to have that option when you guys, because I think you guys were in Ohio a few times last year, or at least a couple times last year.
Yeah, we usually
Um,
go out to Ohio 2, 3 times a year. Yeah.
and anything in Ohio is close to Indiana, they're attached.
Yep.
So, it's an excuse to go eat Mexican, have a beer, and maybe do a little bit of racing and hanging out. Obviously, with doing the IndyCar stuff now, I don't get to come to New York as much. Usually, when I was out your way, it was for what we call racecations.
Hmm.
We were going to a race and calling it a vacation. So, yeah, in all seriousness, I think we may have to look into dabbling a little bit more into the carpet oval. Already checking out a couple spots. I found a place in, I want to say, Murray, Illinois, that was running carpet oval over the weekend.
Okay.
Um, and the thing that I've always loved about RC racing is you always get to meet so many new people, and like crappies. I've already been able to network with a few of the people that I was in touch with over the weekend, and it's showing me more doors to the oval or the carpet world. In fact, the same track is running the Ohio State Championships for on-ring this
Yep.
weekend.
Yep.
And one of our engineers with the NXT team is actually dabbling with the idea of going over there. So, we got guys that I work with that do a lot of the foam tire racing on-road stuff. So, to me, a lot of the tracks that we get to go to are a 2-hour drive or a 3-hour drive. We're blessed with a couple close here during the summer, but 3 hours to Bowling Green, Ohio was a drop in the hat. I mean, it was well worth the weekend. So, you know, we may be dabbling some more in some of the rubber tire truck. I don't know that we're going to jump higher than the rubber tire truck.
Yeah.
I'm not sure that I'm smart enough to true a foam tire yet.
The machines do it for you. You didn't know that?
Yeah,
You program it, they're all automatic. You just hit the button, it does all the work.
my case in point right there.
So the boys at Black Swamp, they put on a good show. It's their first oval race. I think they had something around 60 entries or so. It was ran super smooth. The weekend was almost a blur. Ran so quickly, no huge problems. I think they had one issue with like scoring in the start of one of the mains. And they were able to get.
You only think there was an issue because you got dinged because of it.
But they got that sorted out. We got what was mine, and ultimately it was a great weekend. So I'm hoping that they try it again next year. So none of those guys that, other than the locals, everyone else there had never been there before. A lot of people didn't even know about the track prior to this race. So I'm hoping next year they do it again and they're able to grow that up another percentage and keep it going for years to come. It was a pretty cool track, a little small, but it was kind of the charm of it.
No, that was the cool thing about it because everybody was within earshot of each other.
Mm-hmm.
You didn't have to yell across a speaker or a microphone or anything like that. You could, even where you're sitting, you could check out what was going on on the track. And for a first year program, I thought it ran remarkably well.
Yep.
I know we could go weeks and weeks and weeks of racing at the same track and run the same program, and it'd take 3 hours longer. I mean, we were
Right.
in there. We started racing at 11 o'clock. They said we're racing at 11 o'clock. At 10:55, we were on the track.
Right.
They said we had 10 minutes between rounds, 9 minutes and 30 seconds. Make sure you're going through tech so you can get up on the stand.
Yeah.
You know, they were really diligent on their times and everything like that. And we were out of there. We were stuffing our faces by 7 p.m.
Yeah, it was awesome.
You know, I'm not used to that with big cars or little cars. So
Yeah.
that was pretty cool. And it was funny because I honestly think that I got so intense with bettering myself the whole day that I just wore my ass out.
Yeah.
I really did.
Yeah, it was an awesome weekend, and we're definitely gonna have to do it again, and maybe I'll even come out your way and do a little dirt car racing, as much as you don't want to see that. We tried that for 1 year. Both of us were horrible, and we vowed to never do it again, but maybe with a properly set up car, it won't be so bad.
Well, let me see. Labor Day weekend, Backyard Raceway is putting on a killer crown jewel race.
Really?
$1,000 to win.
Oof.
Wing sprint car race.
All right.
And I mean, I may not be there for the first day because I've got obligations in Iowa for the NXT, but Wits is helping promote the show. Tony Carrubba, and it's several classes. I mean, the purse is huge for several classes, and I could find you a mechanic to get you laid down and a good car. So I mean, we could throw you an entry together really quick.
Yeah, we might have to do it.
I mean, and
Is
you
that-
always got
is-
a place to stay.
Yeah, is that an outdoor track or indoor?
That's an outdoor banked loose dirt oval.
Okay.
It's a pretty sick track.
Yeah, I can get Audra set up with some. I'll bring her a cooler and a couple books to read, and get after it.
And I don't know if Caitlin's going to Iowa with me or not. So, you know, Caitlin could always help set up a margarita bar for her and Audra there at the track. And you know, I mean, Tony's usually pretty good about having that time of year, having a little campfire next to the track. And
Yep.
I mean, it's a down home track, but it's big that they're doing a payout race like this. It's probably one of the few that you'll ever see on dirt oval.
Yeah, yeah. There's not really a lot of payout races other than drag racing, really. So that's cool to hear. I'll definitely have to. You'll have to send me the dates. We'll see if we can make it happen.
Yeah, I mean, if not, we got plenty of races in between. You guys are always welcome to make a road trip and do some dirt racing.
Yeah.
I do know the same people that do a lot. They're at Black Swamp. We're talking about. They're very involved in Tar Car Raceway, which is right outside, right there, close to Bowling Green. I want to say that's Toledo.
Mm-hmm.
That's where Tar Car is, or real close to Toledo. I've only been blessed with going to that track once, but it's a pretty sick track too. And if they pull something off and they put on a show or something like that, we could always do the split again.
Yeah, I'm down.
Yeah, so
As long as you got a Mexican place nearby, I will be there.
in the United States, I think there's plenty to be found. So it's finding the hole in the wall Mexican place that you have to enjoy.
Yeah, that's it. All right, man. Well, I appreciate you coming on. Episode 2 in the books. Kevin Smith, CK Speed Shop, Wits. We went to Black Swamp Raceway, killed it, had a good time. We'll catch you guys later. Thank you very much. Peace.
Thanks, Derek.